And welcome back to another episode of Minnesports. I am Sam Macy along here with Nolan O'Hara. Still no Blaine Weber for personal reasons, but we do hope to have him back on the show very soon. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the Wild and their little catastrophe, just say nonetheless. Timberwolves in their series right now, how the bench is playing a huge factor in this series going on. We're also going to give our little NFL fantasy draft with a little spin, so please stay tuned to listen to that and all the jazz. Minnesota Twins lately, cover that, and of course, higher or lower. Okay, so to start off the show, we're going to hear a little bit from Nolan on how the Wild just flamed out of this series.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've made a nice end to it with that 5-0 loss.
It's 4 down in the first period.
Yeah.
Come on, no fighting chance at all.
It's one thing to lose a series. Back-to-back years losing in 5 games, which is, 3 years in a row losing in the first round. And then that last game, it's like, no fight at all. 4-0 at the first period.
What? You have no fight left. You're down. That was basically an elimination game to go 3-1 down. Because it's hard to come back from 3-1.
Yeah, but, still, you should have some kind of fight. Going even down 3-1.
It's just Boudreau bringing his bad luck everywhere. He's a good seasoned coach. But once you get to the playoffs, nothing's there.
Yeah, well, according to the owner, Boudreau's job is safe for now. Unlike we found out, Chuck Fletcher's contract will not be picked up. So I've been reading a little bit about this, reading some Russo about Fletcher being out. So it sounded like up until 2 weeks till go in the season, he thought his job was safe. They're making the playoffs. They had all kinds of injuries all year long. Niederreiter had been in and out of the lineup. Granlund had been in and out. Parisi had been in and out. Suter. Yeah. They've had just numbers of injuries. And they kept it together. They, some of these younger guys stepped up, and Fletcher felt like his job was safe. And sure enough, right as I heard it was right about as they were thinking about extending him, that the owner heard from a source we don't know, because I guess Russo, it was confidential, so it was off the record. He couldn't divulge, but there's somebody in the organization that convinced him to not pick up his contract. So who that is, whether that's players, whether that's other personnel, we don't know. Whether it's Boudreau, we don't know. So it'll be interesting to see if any of that comes out coming up here.
So can you pin this playoff series on Chuck Fletcher?
That's the thing, is can you? When Ryan Suter and Zach Parisi, the two staples he signed, are out for a playoff series, can you really blame him? But the thing is, it's been 6 years in a row and you haven't made it past the second round. So there's something where this team is not built to go deep into the playoffs. And Boudreau coming here was supposed to be the catalyst that we have this coach now, this long tenured coach, and he's supposed to be what takes us over the hump, and it hasn't happened still. So I think he's just thinking this roster's just not built. He wants a fresh set of eyes on it, and that's interesting. But Russo was saying on the radio the other day, he said that could just delay things, because now this new GM may want to see with his own 2 eyes what we have and whether we want to trade these players or not. So that would be another year of having these same guys out here, probably making the playoffs but having a very short run. And who the next GM is going to have some tough decisions to make, because you can't move Parisi and Suter because of their contracts. Nobody's going to trade for them. And then you're going to have to trade some kind of staple of this team, whether it be Koivu. I don't know if teams are going to be interested in trading for him anymore. You probably don't want to trade Granlund, but you might have to, because he's one of the few movable pieces.
Coyle,
that's a
big one.
Yeah, Coyle's been one where they haven't wanted to trade him because they keep hoping and keep waiting to see if he's going to develop into something else, and he just hasn't. Coyle, I think Montreal was really intrigued and wanted to trade for him.
Yes, I did hear about that today.
So maybe that's one of the steps you can take, but other than that, they're talking about maybe Nino. He's going to have some tough decisions to make, because you can't move, there's going to be no way to move Parisi or Suter just because of their contracts.
Correct. And
they're, getting out of their prime now. They're not what they used to be.
No, they won't be.
And it's going to be a lot of tough decisions for the next general manager. It'll be interesting to see if people get traded. I don't know. The draft, Chuck Fletcher traded away a lot of draft picks. He brought in some good players, but
Yeah, that's a gamble he did take.
Yeah.
Risk away our future for now, and he's been doing it in the past few seasons, and that just has not paid off.
And, I mean, it's been 6 years in a row in the playoffs, which that's the second longest streak to Pittsburgh. I think, and Pittsburgh's been 9, so Wild have been successful in that regard, but they're not built to go deep in the playoffs, and they're not built to win a Stanley Cup right now, and the next GM is going to have to make some changes, and he's going to have to make some big decisions, and the question is who's the next GM's going to be, too.
God, I have no knowledge in who could.
Yeah, I only know what I've read so far, but
I just want to know if the ownership's going to look for, are we going to keep pressing and continue now and try to win at this level, or are we going to start rebuilding?
That's the interesting thing. The owner, Leopold, right? This is the owner's name?
I believe so.
Leopold. He said that, this was his quote. He said, he wants changes. He wants to bring a Stanley Cup to the state of Minnesota, but he was making it very clear that this is not a rebuild. And he said he's going to make, when he's interviewing the next GM, he's going to make that very clear to them that he does not want to rebuild.
Hey, when did we start our rebuild? Is it going to be the first year we're going to miss our playoffs and our streak, or what? This is simply not a winning formula as we've seen these past 6 years. It's been first round and like one second round exit, and we just got swept that one.
Yeah, I think we've lost in the second round a couple times to Chicago, and then
you've already seen. Yeah, a team like Chicago is rebuilding now. I guarantee you they're gonna be better than us in 3 years.
That's the thing is, does he want to rebuild? I mean, what sucks too is our best prospect right now, Kaprizov, he's still got through 2020 on his contract up in Russia, so it's not. I mean, I don't know what you can do, and there's really not that many pieces who are movable, who you'd want to move. I mean, Coyle's probably the best one, but this team's not going to want to trade away Granlund or Zucker, and they shouldn't want to, because for one thing, Zucker's the only speed they have on the ice right now, and I mean they have a young core of players who are really good players. It's just those are the pieces you might have to move if you're really trying to push for somebody. So the next GM, and there have been ties to Nashville Predators assistant GM, and I guess the Leopold, I think he used to be the owner of Nashville.
Yeah.
So right now it looks like he is the strongest candidate. And again, it's one of those things though, like they have to he has to be allowed to interview for the job. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, most likely he would be.
Yep.
But it'll be still in the playoffs for now. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets that job, what he will do with it, and to see if he can make this team still be a playoff team while going through he said it's not a rebuild, so I don't know exactly what changes he wants made.
Minnesota's hungry for Minnesports champion. I thought the Wild would be the team out of the four I consider. We're thinking about a fifth now, but for now it's four, and this team was supposed to get the job done years ago when they signed those 10-year contracts to Priest and Suter. It just has not gotten done yet, and disappointment is starting to settle in Minnesota.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and he realizes that, this is the state of hockey. The state of hockey wants a Stanley Cup, and that's, I guess, what he's looking for, and not picking up Fletcher's contract. Doesn't think he is the man to move these players, maybe?
I'll believe him for the next few years. You got to give someone else a chance.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens here.
Yep. All right. I did not mention this in the rundown for the show, but I will talk a little bit about the Vikings here because they did pick up Trey Wayne's option today, which was worth $9 million. So the numbers left are gonna have about $15 million by the draft, and according to that, you could probably re-sign a few more players. And I'm thinking we gotta go Hunter. The order of priority should be Hunter, Diggs, Barr. Not saying Barr is a bad player. I'm just saying he's gonna be worth so much money. It's almost to the point where we probably should just let him walk for that value.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I would say Diggs is a bigger priority than Hunter.
I think so.
I do. I think Danielle Hunter's a really nice player, and he's been really good. I mean, he didn't have a sack his whole college career, and then Zimmer turned him into this elite pass rusher.
Freak athlete, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one thing that's really been impressive about him. But I mean, if you don't have Diggs, this team's wide receiver depth is Adam Thielen and Kendall Wright.
Oh, for this, I'm talking about what about next year?
Well, I mean that's nice, but for one thing,
this year.
think about he's playing this year for sure. But Are you going to be able to guaranteed get a good wide receiver in the first round?
Can't guarantee it.
You can't guarantee it.
But
And first round wide receivers, have you looked at them? It's been like Devontae Parker, and you look at these receivers who've been Laquan Treadwell have been drafted in the first round throughout the years. I mean, other than Julio Jones, there really just hasn't been good wide receivers drafted in the first round.
I believe the Vikings will take another receiver this draft. I can see it.
Oh, I mean, which is nice, but
it's going to be a third or fourth round.
They aren't drafting good wide receivers other than Diggs throughout the last couple of years. I mean, who did they draft last year? Stacey Coley, and I mean these receivers aren't panning out.
I think is it Stacey Coley or oh my gosh, it's one of the two who already retired.
Yeah, one of them retired already. I mean, this is I mean, this is ridiculous. So I don't think you're not going to find a replacement for Diggs is what it comes down to. I think it's much easier to find, especially with Zimmer, like a coach like Zimmer, it's much easier to find a replacement for Hunter than it is for a wide receiver. I don't think they'll be able to do it.
So the real question is, will Diggs seek championships or money?
That's the question. I don't think what's his name? The wide receiver from Miami who went to Cleveland. Jarvis Landry. I don't think his contract did us any favors because they're kind of the similar player.
It screwed us over. That's what it did.
But I almost think, too, is if Diggs has another nice year like he did last year, but he's injured for a couple games again, I mean, that'll be like the third year in a row where he's had to miss a couple games every year. So maybe that would save some money off the contract. I mean,
it's true.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But, it's almost you might just have to pay him. I mean, you can only do so much with a cap, but it would be rough for this team, and it does.
And they also have been talking about signing Nick Easton.
They did sign Nick Easton.
Re-signed him? That's confirmed.
Yeah, to that second round tender.
Okay.
Yeah, so Nick Easton is coming back.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I guess back to our regularly scheduled program here with the Minnesota Timberwolves, which are now down 3-1 to Houston after that. It was expected Houston was going to turn on the Jets at some points, but 50 points in the third quarter. This was a 1-point game at halftime. And then James Harden, Chris Paul, Eric Gordon just torched the Timberwolves. But I almost come to think of it, this should not be pinned on the Timberwolves' horrific defense this whole season. It's just finally Houston hitting their stride. They've done it all season, and they finally just clicked in the playoffs.
Yeah, to be honest, the Wolves' defense has been better in the playoffs than it has been all year.
I can't agree right there. There have been better numbers, it finally showed up the bad.
What was it? It was like a 50-49 game at halftime, right? I mean, so you're pacing them out at 100, but 50 points in the third quarter. I mean, part of it is, what do you do about it when James Harden is just knocking down contested threes and he's got to step back and. What can you do? There's not really much you can do about it unless you just want to foul him every time.
You can't do too much, but much of those other three-pointers were easy. No, not even contested. That's just how the Rockets can move around the ball so easily. They can trick defenses who just are not ready for it, and we certainly were not ready for it in the third quarter.
Well, it comes down to Houston's built perfectly for a team in this NBA.
I can agree. Yes.
Because Golden State was the team.
But Mike D'Antoni has simply taken Steve Kerr's philosophy and just blossomed it. Made it.
It's
live and die by the three.
I don't know. I like D'Antoni. I think he's a much better coach than Steve Kerr. If I'm maybe, I don't think it's too hard. I mean,
he's got more experience.
You look at the talent level. I mean, you got James Harden and Chris Paul and Clint Capella now too, because Clint Capella is turning into a really nice player.
You got all these veterans as well on that team.
But you got a lot of veterans, but
Eric Gordon,
you don't have
Joe Johnson.
But the talent level, like the thing about the talent level, you have Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. You have 4 All-Stars on that team. I mean, I don't think Chris Paul was, but you have 2 All-Stars.
The bench is just so bad though.
They got Swaggy P and Iguodala, and they have some nice players.
Nick Young, come on.
I mean, he's not a bad player. He's not a bad player. He's not a bad player to have coming off the bench.
Zaza,
Pachulia is awful, but what I'm saying, Houston is just, they're well coached. They spread the floor. They have a whole bunch of shooters, and it's perfect. That's just what you need. I mean, none of these guys can take over. You have James Harden, who's just an unstoppable force.
And he will get the MVP award.
Yeah, he will. And him and Paul have the handles. Like they can drive in, and then as soon as the defense collapses, just kick it out to Ariza, kick it out to Tucker, kick it out to whoever else out there. I mean, Gerald Green too. All these guys can just knock down threes like crazy, and there's no good way to defend that team. And that's the problem, is they can spread the floor so well. The Wolves defense hadn't been good, so there's just nothing. I don't know. The Wolves just what it comes down to is they're just not a good enough team. They're not built well for this NBA, and they're not a good enough team.
It's crazy to say that because they're not built for this NBA. I can agree with that. The talent's there, but I mean, Jimmy Butler hurt for 10, 20 games. We were guaranteed 3 seed, and we barely made the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think the story would be much different if we were a 3 seed, not playing the number 1 seed right away. But it is what it is. We got in the playoffs. We got in this position, and we just got beat up by the best team in the NBA.
If we were a 3 seed, we'd be playing the Pelicans.
Which I still think we have a better chance than the Trailblazers.
Maybe, but
we could have matched up so much better against the Pelicans.
Could we have? I agree with you because the Pelicans aren't going to be knocking down threes like Houston is. But
No.
And I think Jimmy Butler would be in a good position to have some success because he could go at some of these guys. But really, what is Karl Anthony Towns? If he can't do anything against Clint Capella, what is he going to do against Anthony Davis?
He could be doing too much, but I mean, Portland had zero answer for it. Not even one answer for Anthony Davis. While the Timberwolves have had this answer for Anthony Davis all season. That's why we beat him this year in the series. We beat him 4-2.
It's regular season.
Yeah.
It hardly matters. I mean, Houston beat us by 20 points every game in the regular season, and we sneaked out a game. We sneaked out a game against Houston, and we've had 2 that have been really close games. So the regular season means nothing. It's a whole different animal when it comes to the playoffs. They wouldn't be. I mean, Carl, you put Taj Gibson's too small, and he'd be better than Towns on him anyway. But what are you gonna do? I mean, Towns would just get beat up. You wouldn't get any points out of him on the offensive end. He wouldn't be able to slow down Anthony Davis on the defensive end. Right now, I mean, he's been the biggest disappointment in this playoffs for the Wolves. I didn't think we were gonna beat Houston at all, but I didn't think Towns was gonna get completely demoralized by Clint Capella.
Oh my gosh, what happened? Exactly. He's been dominant all season. All he does is go get boards and throw it in every single time. And now he's just resorting to these really terrible fadeaway 2-pointers. Literally the worst shot you can take in the NBA. That's not a lie. The worst shot you can take is a fadeaway 2. You could take a few feet back and shoot a fadeaway 3. But no, he's shooting like both feet just barely inside the line, shooting these really horrible fadeaway shots. They're only worth 2 points, and that's such a low percentage shot. You're hanging on the perimeter. Getting bullied. He has been getting bullied down there. He's been playing a little better these past few games, but those first 3 games really, I think at least those first 2 games have really just almost sealed the series. We should have won game 1.
Definitely should have won game 1.
Yeah.
And that would have been an opportunity because I mean I guess we got blown out last night anyways, but
It was.
If they win game one, last night's a huge game because you could go up 3-1 and actually have a chance to win this series. Yeah. But it's hopeless. I mean, we didn't think we were going to beat Houston. I mean, we're all, we realize that.
We're the least likely upset to happen. And I think that was pretty obvious.
Yeah, and Houston's they're just a much better team, but Karl Anthony Towns needs to. I don't know what he needs to hit the gym.
He
needs to gain some weight.
That's for sure.
He needs to stop playing Fortnite all night long. Yeah.
I can agree with that. He needs to get on.
It might be working for Ben Simmons, but it definitely ain't working for Cat.
Kevin Garnett needs to come back and just whoop him.
Yeah, that's when he needs some Kevin Garnett workouts. I mean, I don't. He's posting up on James Harden. Why is he letting James Harden push him out of the paint?
That was crazy. I saw that last night too, so many times.
There was a lot of times, and it was a lot of times with James Harden. Yeah, and he just got pushed out of the paint.
How did we not abuse that whole Rockets? They switch on every single screen, right?
Yeah.
How do we not abuse that? I saw at some points Chris Paul on Karl Anthony Towns or Gorgie Jing or Taj Gibson, and they did 0.
I don't understand it.
How?
I don't understand. And it's like, I get it. They're doubling Cat. But you know what that means? That means somebody's open. And you're if you space the floor, you have he can, kick it out. And it seems like every time he gets double teamed, he's just like turning the ball over, or he's shooting a bad shot, or he's not making the right play. There's so much that could have happened. I mean, when they switch all these screens, there's no reason why Karl Anthony Towns, guarded by James Harden, shouldn't score every single time. He should push him into the paint. He should get up and attack the basket.
Foul. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's no reason he should be getting pushed out of the paint and then shooting a fadeaway jumper when he's guarded by James Harden.
Right.
I mean, that's the biggest
But
thing.
we've been talking so many negatives. Let's point out a positive or two, especially with Derrick Rose. That spark off the bench the Wolves have not had all season. They haven't had it. That's why Shabazz Muhammad is no longer on the team. And it's not vintage D Rose, but some of those moves last night were just awesome. Those Michael Jordan layups. He had a couple really good rebounds and putbacks. I love it when I see Jeff Teague and Derrick Rose on the floor. They play super well together. They're two ball-handling threats. They really can't be stopped. I almost want to think I'd love that for a starting lineup next season. Have Taj on the bench.
That's kind of interesting, I guess, if you want to go about it that way. That's not. I don't think that's a Thibodeau kind of thing, though. I think he's two bigs all the time.
Absolutely not. But those games 3 and 4 in the first couple halves, they've been great together. They know where each other are. They're two threats where two guys can handle the ball out there. Jeff Teague's kind of turnover prone, as we saw last night. But if he can clean up that mentality, just constantly turning the ball over, I think we could have a pretty decent team next year.
I thought last night, at least, Derrick Rose last night was better than Jeff Teague.
I can agree, 100% agree. Jeff Teague made too many easy mistakes and turnovers.
He was missing all his shots in the paint too. Did you watch the fourth quarter? I didn't even bother.
I stopped watching midway the third because I wanted to take a nap and go to sleep.
Yeah, after the third quarter.
Call me a fair weather fan, go ahead, but I'm not gonna waste another hour of my time watching a blowout.
I didn't watch the last. I mean, because it was over. The game was over. There was zero chance.
You can tell when they scored 19 points in the first quarter. You knew it was over.
There was zero chance. So I shut it off. I was like, hey, when's the OKC game on? But yeah, Derrick Rose has been this playoffs. He's been playing real well. To be honest, it's kind of an unexpected playoffs because the best players on the Wolves in the playoffs have been Derrick Rose and Andrew Wiggins.
Finally, I've been waiting for that all season. Andrew Wiggins, where have you been all season? Everyone's been waiting for that, and now we could have won a few more games if you played better. We wouldn't be in this 8th seed. We know that.
I would have much rather had the 7th seed. To be honest, I think we could beat Golden State right now.
Right now, yes.
Because
I firmly believe we could at least get 2 games from Golden State.
Yeah.
Possibly a third.
I think we could win the series.
It'd be a good series. Do I think we could win?
Without Curry. I'm talking no Curry right now because they don't have Curry.
We would lose in 7. I don't think we would beat them. No.
I don't know. I don't know.
Because
I think there's a chance.
is having a very hard time. I know.
But San Antonio is not.
No Kawhi Leonard. No one. Yeah. That, Greg Popovich is sad stuff. But I mean, they just got beat up these past 3 games. They got to win. I think it was kind of a cheap win because they really did not deserve it, and they're gonna get beaten 5.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
San Antonio, they're another team too. They're not built to win in this NBA.
They're about to hit rebuild mode.
I mean,
now. It's they're gonna miss the playoffs in these next few years. I can almost because Kawhi Leonard won't be there.
But I mean, you look at their roster though. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge, he's a great player, and he's kind of reminding everybody.
He's had a great player who's had better seasons, but he's still a good player.
I don't know. This year might have been one of the best seasons of his career. He's been great for the Spurs this year.
I think he played much better in Portland.
But I mean, you look at the rest of Pau Gasol,
I forgot
Tony Parker.
Parker's about to retire. Ginobili's about to retire.
Ginobili, they got a lot of Danny Green. Danny Green's, it's like these players.
Yeah, Patty Mills though.
Patty Mills. Yeah. They have a lot of old players, and then they don't have a lot of 3-point shooters either. Like Parker, Parker can't. It was never been a 3-point shooter. Ginobili's, he can shoot, but he's old, and Danny Green's the only other one. But this team is this another team that's just not built to win in this NBA anymore. They need Kawhi Leonard. If they had Kawhi Leonard
will not be there next
he
season.
won't be.
Let's get that out of the way. I can almost put a little thing on this. I guarantee you he goes to the Celtics.
That's really interesting.
Celtics are going to give them Gordon Hayward, and it's either going to be Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Those 2 players for Kawhi Leonard.
That's interesting. See, Gordon Hayward might be hard to move because he's got a big contract, and he's got that injury.
Kawhi Leonard, the biggest deal in NBA history.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, but that's the thing is the that's the one thing is Boston definitely has the assets to trade for Kawhi Leonard.
They had so many good players in that team.
Because, and really,
the series.
you think about it's Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
You can't trade those two.
They can't trade both of them.
You can trade one, but if you trade both, that is.
I think yeah, you don't want to trade both of them because those are both they're too promising. They have too much talent, too much potential. But if you could trade one of them in like a package of picks for Kawhi Leonard, Boston is going to be a juggernaut. They're going to be, the next Golden State. Kyrie Irving, whoever they keep out of Brown or Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, Al Horford still, that team is going to be that's tough out. I mean, who's going to be able to stop that team.
Once they're all healthy, I don't know who.
But you don't think Kawhi Leonard to the Lakers?
People have been saying that.
They have the assets.
Any rumors with the Lakers, I almost don't even think about
because it's LeBron to the Lakers, Kawhi to everybody's going to Paul George.
I don't believe any Laker, because that's a generic one. People want to go to LA. Lakers, let's go. I just don't buy any of those Laker trades until I start seeing that there could be a serious deal going on there.
See, I think if they want Kawhi, they can get him. But that's the thing. They could just say, oh, I think we have a chance at LeBron or Paul George in free agency, and then we won't have to give anything up. So they could look at it from either perspective. But
Jimmy Butler might go there.
Nah. Jimmy Butler's still got a year in Minnesota first.
True.
And I don't think they're going to let him walk.
I hope not.
Because, Glenn Taylor shells out money when this team's in contention.
We've seen that.
We've seen it before. But back with the Garnett teams, he shelled out money for what's his name? I can't even think of the name. Latrell Sprewell. Yeah, he
Marbury.
Yeah, he's paid for players before. So if he sees this team as this perennial playoff team, they make it again next year. Maybe they win a series next year. Take a step forward. They're not going to want. They're going to keep Towns. They're going to keep Jimmy. They're going to keep Wiggins, and they're going to try to keep this team together. I don't see that. And if Jimmy Butler, I don't know. Do you think he's going to want to leave? Maybe, Tibbs has been his coach for a long time.
But I don't see him leaving. But he's not going to stay there for cheap. We all know that.
No, but I don't think there's any reason. There's no cap in the NBA. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
But that'll be interesting to see how these next couple off seasons play out. There's going to be some major changes. LeBron being one. Who knows where? I don't think LeBron knows where LeBron wants to go. So
that's going to be very interesting to find out.
There's been a couple more interesting series in the playoffs here too.
Especially like you said earlier in the Eastern Conference, where it's definitely
the East.
Competitive.
The East, yeah, the Wizards came out of nowhere, tied the series with Toronto.
John Wall never had his playoff year, and if they somehow pull this off against the Raptors, you can expect some crazy things to go on from there.
Yeah.
Other series, you got 76ers up on the Heat 3-1.
Yep. So they're gonna win.
It's Joel Embiid finally coming back, and he's playing really well. I thought he was gonna be the first series in his career without 2 seasons in a row. Ben Simmons is going to be the best player in the NBA very soon. Once he develops a 3-point game, he will be.
Do you think Ben Simmons is the next LeBron? A lot of people are considering him that.
I'd wait on that. I personally.
He needs to be able to shoot at least 50% from the free throw line and 1% from the three. I saw somebody tweet that. Once he can shoot 50% from the 3-point line and 1% from 3-point.
I'll wait on that judgment. You really can't say the next LeBron because he's a one-man team with 2 other assets, and he's gonna go to the finals every single year. Maybe not this year. I don't know. They're playing the Indiana Pacers. It's tough. I think they're gonna pull out that series. But then they got to go play either the Wizards or the Raptors. The Wizards would be a more favorable matchup. But Toronto's been pretty good all year.
I don't know. I almost think Toronto's a better matchup for them. Because Toronto, I don't know. It's people keep saying it's psychological. Maybe it is. Toronto, they choke every single year against Cleveland. Toronto,
you're not wrong.
They've lost games to Cleveland this year. There's Toronto's got they have a so much better roster than Cleveland. I was watching some of these Cavs games. When LeBron's not on the floor, that team just looks lost.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Love he's a shell of what he was here.
Oh my gosh, because he's not a one-man team. He's a one-man team.
Yeah.
We acknowledge it and let him do what he wanted 30 games, man.
And outside of Kevin Love, he's got nobody. I mean, that team is, Kyle Korver's like 1,000 years old.
That was that was kind of weird how they got all those Jay Crowder, Isaiah Thomas. Everyone's thinking, all right, we're going to do good. Then nope.
Yeah.
Cycle them all out and put in some new assets.
And they're young and they got some energy, but this is a weird team. I mean,
LeBron loses this series, does he leave Cleveland?
If he loses this series, if he doesn't get to the finals, he leaves Cleveland, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think with LeBron...
Doesn't that make him kind of seem like a D-bag, though? Because this team is purposely built around him. With literally, I guarantee you, he can't pick who he wanted on his team.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do those random trades with Utah, Los Angeles, the middle. Right, trade that down for no reason.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what... Yeah, if he was integral in getting those players there, and like, this is who I want, but... The owner, Gilbert, because LeBron wouldn't commit, he made sure to hang on to that Brooklyn pick. So he is aware that LeBron might leave. But it all depends on where he goes. If Houston wins it all and he goes to Houston...
Does this make him a bigger snake than Kevin Durant?
Depends on where he goes for me. If he gets beat by Philadelphia and he goes to Philadelphia...
He is not going to Philadelphia.
Well, I'm just saying that's an example. That's an example. But if he gets beat by Philadelphia and he goes to Philadelphia, that's a Kevin Durant move.
Okay. All right.
But to me, what would be interesting? Say he loses and he goes to the Spurs.
I've been hearing a little about that.
I like that. He's him and Popovich. He's always been a big Popovich fan.
Of course.
I would kind of, to be honest, I'd kind of like to see that. If they're going to lose Kawhi Leonard, and if they can bring in LeBron, could you imagine what Greg Popovich, what he's doing right now? He's taking LaMarcus Aldridge and having him carry a team to the playoffs. Can you imagine what he could do with LeBron?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. I would really like to see LeBron. If he goes anywhere other than Cleveland, it would have to be San Antonio, I think. But
okay.
I don't think he knows where he wants to go. It's going to be interesting.
So, last series in the Eastern Conference would be the Celtics versus the Bucks, 2-2. Giannis finally turning it on.
Yeah, he's a really good player, and he had that nice little tip in to even the series. I don't know. To me, that series hardly matters.
Really? Why?
Neither of those teams are going to win the next one, no matter what. Who are they going to play? Philly or are they playing Philly?
Yep.
Neither one of those teams are going to beat Philly.
Okay.
Neither one's even going to make it a series, to be honest.
I
the
think
Bucks
Celtics can make it a series. The Bucks will not, because you just got to stick.
The Bucks should be infinitely better than they are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason they should be struggling with Boston. Boston right now is Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and then like D-League guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they got Horford still, but I mean,
Marcus Smart's coming back.
I guess Marcus Smart is coming back, but he has been out. I mean, you have Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, and Marcus Smart out, and you can't take advantage of that. It's Boston is just so well coached. Brad Stevens he's the real deal. He's a good coach as anybody.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk a little bit about OKC. Did you watch that game at all last night?
I watched the game 3.
Was that Rubio's triple-double?
No, yeah, I got really salty about that. So why? What happened? Did he all of a sudden just get a jolt of confidence? Especially this postseason. Has he just gotten that confidence where he can start knocking down shots consistently? Where's that been this past 5-6 seasons for the Timberwolves?
I don't know. Rubio, yeah, he's been.
Where'd that go?
He's been having a good year.
I'd love to reverse that trade somehow, because he'd be a much better asset than Jeff Teague right now.
Yeah.
I thought Jeff Teague would be a better shooter than Rubio. That's why we traded Rubio.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, is this just a one-time thing in the playoffs, or is this going to be a brand new man-bun Rubio we've never seen before?
Well, even if the shooting's not there, I mean, say Rubio's shooting's bad still. I mean, because
I'd rather have Jeff Teague.
It's not really.
Yeah.
See, at this point, I don't really know, because Jeff Teague has.
Rubio's got all the passes, but he personally himself is not very good at making plays. Jeff Teague can make much more plays than him.
Well, I mean, he can take it to the basket probably more, but
yeah.
Rubio's so much better at moving the ball around, I feel like.
He's good at passing.
Teague has his flashes where he's just brilliant. But then there are games where it's like last night where he's turning the ball over, where he's missing every single thing he throws up. Yeah,
Those got me kind of mad.
and when that happens, it's like, really, this is what we get. This is what we wanted to move Rubio for. But after Rubio's triple double in Game 3, Russell Westbrook was going off about how he's gonna shut him down, and then he got 4 fouls in the first half. I like Russell Westbrook, but
he's a one-man team.
You can't.
He is a one-man team. That's it.
That's
he doesn't like playing the other guys. The other guys are just taken away from him.
It's interesting you say that, but he got those 4 fouls in the first half, and he was just, I think he cost him the game, honestly.
Yeah.
Because he was trying too hard to shut down Rubio instead of trying to win the game.
He tried to pull off the one-man team he did last year, but that's not going to work when you have 2 other good players around you. I'm not going to say elite because I don't think they're elite.
Melo's been awful.
Oh, my gosh.
He can't make a shot. He can't buy a shot for his life.
He's done.
I don't understand. I mean, Melo's been terrible. And, like, last night, Melo was really bad. I mean, Paul George is still a really good player, but I don't even know if it's trying to be the one-man show. He was too dead set on... I don't know. Rubio just got in his head. Rubio got in his head, and he was dead set on, I am going to shut Rubio down. He's not going to score. One of them, he comes up behind him and he just, swats at it. Like, these are fouls that are preventable.
Yep.
But he wants to stop him. He wants to, have that. He gets too focused on it. I don't know if Rubio's getting in his head or what, but he doesn't need to get 4 fouls trying to stop Rubio in the first half. He needs to, settle down, play his game, and they're down 3-1 now. They're not going to win that series.
No, I think that's going to be over, and there's going to be a lot of questions in OKC because they were coming into this thing saying, "Oh, we're going to be, easy 3." Some people said 2 seed, and now they're losing to the 5 seed pretty handily. They're getting manhandled.
They got pummeled last night.
Is it 3 games in a row the Jazz have won now? Or is it...
I think it is.
Yeah.
Unless... No. The Jazz won the first one.
And then...
OKC tied it up, and now it's 2 in a row for them.
Jeez. I don't know what to think about that. All right, so, shall we move on?
Yeah, let's go. And a little NFL draft.
All right. We have our... Do you have a pen?
I do have a pen.
Give me that pen. You use your phone for a little guide as well. All right, so how do we want to do this? Do you want to explain the rules?
Yeah, so... We're going to do a NFL fantasy draft. So what we're going to do is we're going to each pick a player. So if there's number 1 pick, I'll pick a player and then Sam will pick a player. But he can't pick the same one I pick for the first pick. So we'll do it a little bit. It's going to be a little confusing, but it'll make sense as it goes along. But it'll be kind of like a mock draft, but it'll be a fantasy draft. So Sam, you can start it off.
I'm taking a number between 1 and 2.
1 and 2?
Yeah. What is it? I'm taking a number between 1 and 2. Pick it. Is it 1 or 2?
1.
It's 2.
2. All right. So Sam's going to start us off.
I am going to actually let you go first.
Okay.
I already know who your first pick's going to be.
Do you?
I believe so. All right. So this is the Cleveland Browns pick, I believe.
Yes.
You want to write it in, or
you can write it in, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm using this for higher or lower in a few minutes too. Let me just get the draft order pulled up here because I know the first 5 and 6, but just a little confused on that. All right, go on.
Yeah. So Cleveland, they've had years and years of picking the wrong players. I'm gonna do a real hot take, and I'm gonna say they're gonna pick the right player. And they're going to take the best quarterback in the draft.
Way. He is not the best
who is Baker Mayfield.
He is not the best quarterback in the draft. He's the 32nd prospect overall for a reason.
He is the best quarterback in the draft. I don't care. Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen, they're looking at him because they look like they could be great quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield is too small. He's not he's not the most athletic. They don't like it. He's successful is what it comes down to.
Yep.
And he can make plays. And whether teams like it or not, he's not the size they want him to be, but he's the best quarterback in the draft.
All right, enough of your rambling. My number 1 pick will not be my projected draft. This is going to be going to Sam Darnold of USC. We got Josh Allen, who I don't think is going to be good, but that completion percentage really throws me off. It threw me off. I don't think Cleveland's gonna bite Baker Mayfield number 1. I think they put out that rumor just to get that number 4 pick trade away to Miami or Buffalo. I can already see it. All right, so it's my pick now, isn't it?
It is New York.
I believe I'm gonna might be stealing this player from you. I don't know, but number 2, they still got Eli Manning, so you don't need an elite quarterback now. So you're gonna go with the best player available in the draft. That would be Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Your pick?
I actually was not gonna pick Saquon Barkley.
I did not steal that from you. Okay.
So what I was gonna do though is because Cleveland took Baker Mayfield.
So you're thinking quarterback.
Yep.
Okay.
New York is gonna say, "Wow, we have both Rosen and Darnold still available. We're gonna take Darnold."
Yep.
Because we think he can be a franchise guy.
I think Rose might slip.
I think so too.
All right. So you go number 3 pick, New York Jets. Who
Number
are you
3,
gonna take?
the New York Jets.
Very good feeling.
Who need a quarterback? Josh Allen.
You said Josh. Wow. Okay. I thought you were gonna go Rosen.
Nope, they're gonna take Josh Allen.
So I'm gonna go with Josh Rosen for the New York Jets because it's projected on this random mock draft. I just want an order, but this is gonna be a very fun draft. I can't wait to watch. Honestly.
This is. It's so unpredictable.
Okay, so it's my turn with the 4th pick. So this is gonna be interesting. So I'm gonna pretend there's gonna be no trades here.
Okay, so Cleveland.
So Cleveland's gonna take the next best available player, which will, you can probably guess, Bradley Chubb out of North Carolina State.
Okay. Yep. So I didn't have. You had Saquon going number 2. I'm gonna stick with it. He's gonna stay number 4. Saquon Barkley going to Cleveland.
That would be a dream, but I just don't see that happening.
It all depends. It all depends if New York is gonna
Okay.
say we got years of Eli Manning
Sure.
left, or if we're gonna go for a quarterback. But yeah, Saquon
Okay,
Barkley.
so
So. Oh, am I picking 5 now? Right? Denver.
yes, yeah, go right ahead.
Denver Broncos. They're gonna take Denzel Ward from Ohio State.
Okay.
They got rid of Aqib Talib. They're gonna need a corner, so they're gonna take Denzel Ward.
I'm kidding. There will be trades. Like I'm totally kidding.
Okay.
So this gonna be Buffalo's pick. Buffalo is going to trade with Denver right here because Denver have a Case Keenum. I don't think because he had a good season last year. Let's not be wrong.
Yeah, he had a really good season, best year of his career.
Correct. So I don't think they're gonna trade down and maybe draft a quarterback a little later because there's still gonna be one of those good 5 or 6 quarterbacks left. Even Lamar Jackson might be there. You never know. So they're gonna trade up. Buffalo will take this selection, and they are gonna pick Baker Mayfield. They're gonna take the gamble. They're gonna pass Josh Allen because they want a little flair. You know, they want a little name that they can do. So they're gonna go. They're gonna go Mayfield, I think.
All right.
And so it's my turn again, if I'm not mistaken. Number 6.
Yeah.
Indy will not have this pick either.
Okay.
The Miami Dolphins are going to want this selection.
All right.
They're needing a quarterback, and that Baker Mayfield would fit super cool in Miami, but Buffalo is going to basically give him a middle finger and steal that pick. So they're going to be like, who's left? Well, who's left is Josh Allen. So Josh Allen will be going to Miami. Very new scenery from him, but we'll see. All right. Number 6.
Indianapolis, 6th pick, Quentin Nelson. They're gonna need somebody to protect Andrew Luck.
Best O-line out there.
Yeah, they need somebody to protect Andrew Luck bad.
All right.
And
Number 7.
so 7, Tampa Bay. This is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna say they take Derwin James.
That was my pick. All right, so
Safety
the
from
first
Florida
steal.
Ooh.
All right.
There we go.
Okay. Well, why Derwin James?
They need some secondary help. Their defense was bad. I mean, they turn the ball over. But they need some help on the defensive end. Their offense can be successful.
Okay.
Like they have a lot more potential on offense than they do on defense.
For number 7, since you took Derwin James, I don't think Denzel Ward's gonna be. This is Denzel Ward's pick. Then I would have Derwin James there, but it's gonna be. It's gonna be Denzel Ward.
Okay.
So for number 8.
Chicago.
I'm thrown up here. I don't know. Do I go Derwin James or do I go Quentin Nelson? 2 people already off your board, but I don't know. Do they want the offensive line protection or do they want a D-back? I'm going to think they're going to go D-back here with Derwin James, just the best player available, and over Quentin Nelson. Number 8.
Buffalo is going to trade up to number 8.
Okay.
Take Josh Rosen.
All right. Yep, I could totally see that. Chicago might want that pick, though, but I don't know. All right, number 9.
9. San Francisco. It's going to be interesting to see who they take. San Francisco, I'm going to say they're going to take Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker.
Tremaine Edmonds, okay. So he's jumping a little bit on my scale.
They're going to work on that defensive side of the ball.
And they will be going defensive here with, should I go? Yeah, I'm going to go Raquan Smith. They need a linebacker.
Okay. Yeah.
And I get to go again.
Yep, number 10.
Number 10, Oakland. This is Oakland's pick, and they're going to go, who to take here? There's Quentin Nelson's left, but they don't need that. They need defense, and they're going to go Mika Fitzpatrick from Alabama.
All right. And you had him for 9. I'm going to have him for 10. Roquan Smith, linebacker, Georgia.
All right. So they're
working on the defensive side of the ball still.
Yeah, very good draft. So we're going to end up seeing how many of the 10 we can get right. How the points are going to go for that. I don't know. How are we going to do the points for that? Do you have an idea we should try?
It's, I don't know. It's up to you.
I got an
idea. We could do a certain amount of points for number 1, or we could just do one.
I got an idea. So,
all right.
1 if your player's in the top 10. 3 if you got the correct position. So we can agree on?
Okay, so if like Baker Mayfield, if he goes in the top 10, I get a point. Yeah. But if he's picked number 7, then I don't get the extra 3.
He's in the top 10.
I get the but I get the 1, but I don't get. But if he's number 1 overall, I get 3 more, or 3 total.
3 total.
Okay, makes sense.
Good.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Good idea.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our end game.
Ooh.
This is higher or lower, and the point totals right now. I have a point. Nolan has a point. No points for Blaine yet. We're gonna hopefully get him on the board here soon, right? So, here's how this game's gonna work. I am going to list off these questions and ask a hypothetical question. Say like, how many pop cans are littered in the earth today? Let's go a random number. 2 million. That's not the real fact. That's just a made up number. 2 million. I'm gonna ask Nolan higher or lower. So he's going to say higher or lower. And if he said lower, and let's say the real answer was 1 million, he'd get it right. But if he thought it was higher than 2 million, he will not get it. He must get 4 out of 7. He can win it. He can win it once he gets 4.
All right, let's go.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
Question number 1. How many career points did Kobe Bryant have? The number I have is 34,972. Higher or lower?
So I'm pretty sure Kareem, as the highest ever, was at like 38.
All right.
Kobe's around there, but what do you say? 34,900?
34,972.
I'm gonna say lower.
And that would be correct. His total is 33,643.
Dang, that was
All right.
I knew it was around there, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah. All right. Next question. What is the current? No, this isn't current. Sorry. Cal Ripken played in how many consecutive games in a row? The number I have is 2,059. Higher or lower?
2,059?
Correct.
I'm going to say higher.
You are on fire today. That is correct.
Yeah.
Cal Ripken played 2,632 games in a row.
Jeez.
That's no record Brett Favre could even touch.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is... so, back in the early 2010s, UConn women had an insane record of straight wins. NCAA record. Is that number 122? Higher or lower? Straight wins UConn had in a row.
I remember UConn had a couple undefeated, like 30-something win seasons. So I'm going to say higher.
That is incorrect.
Oh.
The correct number was 111 straight victories.
Okay.
Not 122. All right, so 1 wrong. He has 2 right. All he needs is 2 more, and he wins.
All right.
All right, next question. How many NCAA titles did UCLA win under John Wooden? I have the number 13. Higher or lower?
See, the number in my head is 14.
Yeah.
Higher.
That is incorrect. John Wooden won 10 national titles in UCLA. All right.
Jeez.
So you got to get 2 right, and there's 3 questions left.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Sure.
The career Grand Slam victories for Roger Federer. I have 15. Higher or lower?
It's got to be higher.
That is correct. 20.
Yeah.
That Roger Federer's 20 career Grand Slams. So you got to get one left.
All right.
You got to get it right. All right. Jimmy Johnson career racing wins in NASCAR. I have 68. Higher or lower than 68?
68. That seems like a lot. I got to go lower.
That is incorrect. Jimmy Johnson had 83 victories.
Holy crap.
Oh my goodness. It is going to come down to the final question.
Oh boy.
Are you ready?
I'm
this
ready.
is a good question here.
Here we go.
Are you
All right.
ready?
All right. I'm ready.
How many career TDs does Randy Moss have? I have 169. Higher or lower than 169?
Lower.
Nolan, are you sure? Lower. Confirm?
Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah.
156. Wow, that was a good game. All right, so you now have 2 career victories.
There we go.
I have 1. Blaine, nothing. Very good. You like those questions?
Yeah, those were good questions.
All right, good. Well, we hope you enjoyed the podcast today. Tune in next week for more sports updates and sportscasts. Make sure to go on our YouTube channel. We're starting to upload videos on there now. I'm trying to get them up after we podcast. So on Minnesports, that is our YouTube channel with the Purple Kool-Aid Man. He's our
Kool-Aid.
Lord and Savior. Go on our Reddit page on r-Minnesports and look out for our tweets on at Minnesports5. Any closing statements from you, Mr. O'Hara?
I don't think I got anything.
I really don't have anything either. Let's just hope the
Twins can shake this 4-game skid.
That would be nice.
Playing the Yankees right now, tied 1-1.
You know what? Let's hope the Wolves can maybe get another victory. Would be nice. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in.